Welcome back, everyone, to session 36 of Call of the Netherdeep. After taking a couple of weeks off for travel and the holidays, and me not thinking about D&D at all. That was a nice break. But we back in there. We deep in it, and we're totally gonna remember what was going on last time. So we had finished both in session and a good deal in text RP, the 1 week downtime. Many conversations were had, some shenanigans were done. The DM still needs to figure out the results of a few things that were done that I just now remembered. So I'll get to that eventually. But also, at the end of the downtime, or right after the downtime concluded, Ben received a message from Master Iwo Zalare asking his and his friends, if possible, attendance at the Temple of the Mentor to receive details about a new mission for Ben and any help that Ben can acquire. And I myself am trying to remember how far along I got in actually describing to you what the mission was. If anyone would care to remind me, if you remember what was
Ruidium short sword. Wait, no.
It was not a merchant. I can't remember, but there was a particular dude.
Baker.
A baker, thank you, who they think is peddling wares that have ruidium.
Black magic. I don't remember the word ruidium. I just heard magic items on the black market.
No,
Maybe
I
that's
think
what
it
it
was
was.
ruidium.
Oh, okay.
I'm so glad you guys remember this because
Oh, please, I have my notes up. I don't remember any of this.
Let's be fair. I have my notes, but Jess's notes are choice.
I found the paragraph that the DM is supposed to exposit, so I will just re-exposit that for your sakes and mine. Iwo shows you a map of the city with a circle noting a location in the river district. We suspect that a local baker named Krook, I remember us joking about the name Krook, is involved in the illegal sale of dangerous magic items, but we need proof before involving the hands of Ord. The circle on the map shows where the bakery is located. We assume that Krook does all of his black market business after sundown when the bakery closes. I suggest you wait until then to approach the place.
Like I said, doesn't say the word ruidium anywhere.
Okay, my bad.
The,
Oh, did I assume?
I think Arno talking to Ariok at some point.
Yes, that's where it was.
He had mentioned that before. Now I can't remember what I named my own homebrew monster. Before that ooze that was sapping his motivation and making him depressed interrupted his work. The Allegiance of Allsight had commissioned him to attempt to make some weapons incorporating ruidium. And two that he had mentioned completing successfully were a ruidium short sword and a ruidium great axe, just to try out different sizes of weapon.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think in my mind I put the two together on accident.
And those were given back to the Allegiance, right? Those were successful and he handed them off?
No, two of them he did not, they got stolen.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Oh, yeah. Well, maybe the baker has them. So maybe that's where the connection was.
That's where my brain went.
We're already making connections. There's a lot of ruin. Well, to be fair, Thorn also flashed that ring at the
and the rock
place.
chunk.
Yes. Well, no, he flashed the ring at the was it the Dragonborn?
We don't know that.
Yeah, Dragonborn.
Oh, that's true. We know that, but our characters don't. You're right.
He didn't tell us that part because he's being shady.
Thorn?
He's doing Thorn things.
He is from Shady Creek runs. So
that's true.
It's
apparently.
I don't know why I feel like that's profiling. Yeah.
That's a stereotype he says as he pockets ruby dust over there.
He would though. He would
and
say
literally
that.
everything about him is shady. Yeah,
I am deeply offended.
How
Truth
dare
be
you
damned,
people
that's
in meat
rude.
boxes?
I just am imagining Scanlan in my head. How dare you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As people call him out for being the way he is.
So yeah, we left off at in the Cobalt Soul. We were going down to
Yes.
the catacombs.
Yeah, the archive.
We
Yes,
got a
you were-
mission, and then Ix went to the library.
Yeah, so it is morning at some point in the morning still. So you were told about this mission for anyone who is willing to help Ben with for after sundown,
Nope,
or
Ben
however
has to do
early
it
you
all
want
on
to
his
get
own.
there. Let's see. Yes, Ix was told that her request to visit the archives was approved, and Iwo prompted Ben to escort her there. And Thorn asked to also go in, and I don't think anybody else was sent to join Thorn as an extra person. But
He said go with them. Like Ben
Yeah.
was suitable.
yeah, I think it was, if I recall, it was implied that Archivist Senka will be helping one of you while Ben assists the other one of you.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were staying together actually.
Yeah.
Ix and I
No.
were looking into the same things. So like
Mm-hmm.
They're
I
still
think you
putting
were-
they're still putting two of them on two of you,
oh okay.
even if you're staying together. That said, and then Lucas was like, "Oh yay, books."
And Arno was nice enough to be like, "Come on, let's go walk around.
Yes.
You poor pitiful thing." And Lucas was like, "Okay." He was so happy. He's like, "Oh, thank God."
Yep.
Lovely,
Much more
lovely.
enjoyable. Much more enjoyable.
Lucas has made it very clear his opinion on libraries and books.
I can't believe there's like 4 of them here. And we're going to all of them.
Who needs all these books?
Ugh.
Why
The only
can't I
reason you
hold
need
all
a
these
book
books?
is to whack somebody.
Okay. That meme describing the different clerics gets to the war clerics. MO. Whack. Let's see. Where is my pinned message? I don't know what a message is. Okay. Well, I will let us start off. I will have first Ix and Thorn. You can each roll investigation with advantage since you have librarians helping you.
Sweet.
$17 for Ix.
I got a nat 20, so
Oh.
which is just a 20. Because I have 0 in investigation.
Perfect.
That 20 is better than my 17. I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right, so 17 and a natural 20. Very nice. All right. What are each of you looking up first?
I guess we'll do the soft stuff first. Like the Apotheon, Kale Marrow, Elixian.
Resurrection is what I'm
Oh, yeah, all the
Yeah,
soft
resurrections.
stuff.
Yeah, the soft stuff. Because the second that I start asking questions about packs, how to break them, and betrayer gods, I mean, things are going to get a little heated. So that's why we'll start with the easy stuff.
Sure.
We'll start with resurrection. We'll start with resurrection. Let's do that.
Start
I
with
realized what that
resurrection.
sounded like. I'm sorry.
Just
Also,
light reading.
I'm so glad that we pinned the list because I did not entirely remember what was in there. So.
All right. So looking to see. Let's see. So. Okay, so resurrection is a little broad, but I see examples of betrayer gods resurrecting people.
Yeah.
Is
Yes,
in
I
there
apologize.
as well. Let's see. Most of the information you find in regards to this, you get the impression some things that you might have guessed. The betrayer god's power is mostly limited in the material plane. They can grant power to worshippers, and some of their worshippers who follow clerical paths do gain the power to resurrect mortals within limitations and requiring the expensive components like diamonds and such. There aren't a large number of tales in general of the betrayer gods directly having an influence on mortals' resurrection or otherwise. Some can send visions to alive followers or potential followers, send messages. Let's see. Trying to think. In some cases, there are some anecdotes about worshippers that already had some manner of power from these gods. With that existing connection, those could be brought back by the god's power and not a cleric's power. But a lot of that stuff is anecdotal and suppositions and hearsay. It is not something that is academically and scientifically researched, other than gathering stories where they can be found. Let's see. That's the long and short of, unless I think of something brilliant in retrospect to add on to that. That is the long and short of what you find on resurrection related to betrayer gods. And we have established I am not above retroactively saying, oh, by the way, you also learned this the other day.
I'm okay with those things, those instances. I'm like, oh, okay. Yes, absolutely. I love this nugget. Thank you.
It's like, by the way. Okay, and you mentioned the Apotheon you wanted to research.
Yeah, the keyword of Apotheon, and then of course anything relating to Elixion.
Okay. There is a fair amount of scattered information on the Apotheon. There isn't like a singular biography that describes his life from childhood to his rise and demise. But there are a lot of stories that have been assembled from different viewpoints and different sources. A lot of it is what you've known already. He was born under the red moon while Ruidus was flaring, which we've established is often seen as a sign of misfortune and a cursed life, which is why the man himself strove to make other people's lives better to kind of balance out the curse that was his own life, why he fought so hard against the evil gods. Lot of song and praise about his exploits in war against the forces of the betrayer gods, the siege of Bazozan, the fall of Gordranus all over in Jorhas. there are mentions of his rise in deific power. They earned him the name Apotheon, although none of the records that you find in the archive make mention of his given name, Elixion. It's like, it is impressive that I believe it was one of the elders in Jigao that he knew what the Apotheon's name, or suspected the Apotheon's name accurately. It's just not common knowledge even among scholars, apparently. But yeah, there are mentions of him gaining power from the Moonweaver first, and then the Changebringer, and finally the Archheart. The latest stories that you find of him are from him coming to Marquette. Most of his life was spent on Wildmount, where you all are from. A lot of it in what is now known as Jorha, since that was the seat of the Betrayer God's power. But yes, he was last seen in the jungles of Marquette, facing off against Groomsh the Ruiner. And it is believed in a lot of stories, not all of the stories agree, but it is believed in a lot of the stories that he fell facing against the Ruiner. Which you all have spoken to him, so that can't be right. Is there anything particular you're wanting to find about the Apotheon, since you got a 17 and a nat 20?
I'd like more details on the Archheart in relation to the Apotheon, because we know quite a bit about the Moonweaver and the Changebringer, but not so much about the Archheart, which seems to be new to us.
Okay. Let's see. The stories seem a little incomplete. It seems his interactions directly with the Archheart, or beseeching them directly, were towards the end of the stories, so there are fewer of them. Not a lot of reports on like people who were present when these things went down, only things that were told of others who heard the story from somebody who heard the story of what happened that day. You do make some connections in your research, since you're also searching for other things, that the jungle that he was in when he faced the Ruiner, it's not a jungle anymore. It is a giant desert. And I believe...
Did catch on to that.
Yeah. And I believe from other conversations you've had, it is known to you all that Kale Morrow, beneath Ank'Harel, is the site of what is believed to be where the Apotheon fell.
So, Ank'Harel itself used to be a jungle.
Yes, the deserts around Ank'Harel used to be jungle.
Okay.
Pre-Calamity. So they've been a desert for a long time, almost a century.
I mean, almost
a century?
That's not very long at all.
Do you mean like a millennium?
I do mean a millennium, yes.
Okay, that makes more sense. Because I was
like,
century
wait.
is like someone's grandparents can remember it.
I was like, a century is like Arno's dad can remember.
Yeah.
You are very correct that I don't remember ever making that mistake before. I'm gonna drink some water.
Stars is like, I need some water for that one. Oops.
It's a 1 followed by multiple zeros, at least 2, probably 3.
Mm-hmm.
850 something to be specific, or at least that was the divergence, so pre-divergence.
Cool. Anything extra on Kale Morrow? Apart
Let's
from what
see.
we already
As
know.
you search as best you can, and as you've been told before, very little is known about the city that used to be, or that Kale Morrow used to be. You have been told that Kale Morrow is not the original name of the city, as that has been lost to time. As a reminder, Kale Morrow is Marquesian for the Sunken City. Presumably, it was not, from the stories, it was not sunken during the time of Elixian. So something not insignificant happened to it between then and now, very obviously. There's not much about the recent research into Kale Morrow here. It does seem like the Allegiance keeps most of that to themselves.
Can't imagine why.
There is a little information on what the Cobalt Soul has gathered as an outside perspective on this. You do find mentions of excursions down into the Maw in the Sigil district. So mentions of like the districts of Oncarel, you can tell these are more recent records. But, there are lists of like expeditions that have gone down in there. You do find some small mention of one of the head researchers from the Allegiance named Insight, which is a name that at least Thorn has heard. I think you shared some of that, right?
I
With the party?
believe, yeah, Thorn told them everything that he had found in robbing the Allegiance. So he would have mentioned that name.
Okay. There are kind of vague mentions that the Allegiance has found something even deeper within Kale Morrow, but it is something they are keeping close to the chest so far.
Three
So
guesses, guys.
They have found something down there that has them very excited.
Okay. All right. Well, there's the softballs. Let's do the hardballs now, shall we? Yeah, it could have come out different, but you know what? I'm not taking it back.
Okay.
I won't even say.
All right. Oh, that whiskey went down. Real. Hold on.
Okay, so how are you phrasing your inquiry to the librarians that are helping you find this information?
How about?
It's like I need to find books about.
Well, we're already researching betrayer gods, and you know what? They already find me suspicious. So let's give them a reason to be just as suspicious, but maybe hopefully a little less suspicious. As I think that Thorn would ask about, are there stories of people who have had connections to the betrayer gods and successfully broken them?
Because as you know, we did just apprehend a gentleman who we feel had a connection with a betrayer god.
And
so in the future,
since they think I'm connected to Zahir, they'll be like, oh, well, maybe this guy's trying to get on the right path.
I like how you keep forgetting that it's the hands of Ord who are wondering about your connection to Zahir,
No,
not
I know. But, like, the Cobalt Soul was, like, also, like, telling Ben to be, like, careful. Yeah. So...
The Cobalt Soul did make a message to Ben that Ix kind of sort of intercepted by accident. It's just like, hey, you're hanging out with some shady people. Don't fuck up. Like,
yeah, I think the Cobalt Soul basically thinks Thorn is suspicious, but they're like, well, as long as you seem to be staying on the level, we won't kick your ass. And we're gonna have Ben watch you. So
Like, we don't have proof that he's a cultist, but we have an inside man. So Ben, this Thorn fellow you've been hanging out with, what do you think of him so far? No.
Well, he's pretty cool.
Respect. Okay.
In true Ben fashion. Oh, he's all right.
He's a pretty cool guy. Pretty tall. Real sneaky.
He's missing an eye, but you know.
Okay. So Senka, or Ben, with Senka's help, helps you locate some books about incidents of people who have made pacts with betrayer gods and other similarly dark forces in the world. A lot of the stories end badly for the mortals involved in those arrangements. Or even sometimes the non-mortals that are still less than those gods. Depending on the strength of the connection, there have been some that may have not lived up to the bargains that were made and were either tortured or had some other curse or misfortune placed upon them as punishment. Some that had a weaker connection or maybe were charmed or influenced in some other way and not made like willing pacts necessarily. There are some stories of like if the charm was broken, they were successfully able to break away from those dark deities. Pacts that are willingly made are a little harder to break without the intervention of another similarly powerful force, as at least one of your number has experienced. It is not a small thing to break a connection that one has chosen to make with a betrayer god. Whether it was premeditated or spur of the moment. Ones that are less willing connections, somewhat easier to break, but not easy to break.
So,
and the circumstances vary in each story.
So for the most part, it's all these people got their shit fucked?
More often than not.
Okay.
Or they had some sort of like god intervention.
There we go. Thorn, just find religion.
There are so many temples right outside.
Well, if that's the only option, Thorn, it was good knowing you. All right, you had a good run.
We're looking this up for your brother, not me.
Yeah, I know, but like, just thinking about it, like, huh,
so
that sucks.
The best, most reliable bet seems to be get on the good side of somebody who has beef with that god, and see if they'll help.
Fair. I do think Thorn, after reading like through a couple of these books, would like close one and like look at Ix with like a slightly nervous look and be like, yeah, this is going to be harder than we thought.
I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I didn't realize how unique my particular experience was.
I think your brother is open to new beliefs.
I don't know if he has a choice in the matter, considering I believe him to be dead, so I don't know. I suppose we'll cross that bridge if it appears. Oh god.
You do know of at least one deity who has specific beef with Tiamat.
That's true. That's true. Isn't that starts with a B, Heather? Jesus Christ.
Hamid.
Thank you. Why is that so hard? I was looking at it, I was thinking about the dragon, I was like, I know he's silver, he's blue, he's her brother. You know this information.
You don't particularly have an existing connection with him to work off of, but you know, it's there.
Oh, he's next door to the Seihanin temple, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
Pop in for a visit. Hey man, what's up? Can I ask you a favor?
Also, this is a tangent, but it has always amused / baffled me that Bahamut and Baphomet both exist in D&D, and one is good and one is evil. And those are just different names for the same deity in our world. I'm pretty sure.
This is why you learn to pronunciate very clearly.
Pronunciate. I see.
You're all stuck wondering what it is Heather said.
Yeah, I think one is like Babylonian versus Latin or something of the same name. I don't know. I haven't looked that deeply into it. I just know the names are related. But that's a tangent. It has nothing to do with the library right now. That's just bothered me for a long time. Well, all right. So, y'all have gotten some nifty information there.
Do they require the Ioun Stone now or later?
Oh, let's see.
Well, if they forgot about it.
No, the DM had forgotten about it. It's been a much shorter amount of time for them than it has been for me.
The Cobalt Soul never forgets.
They probably got people with the keen mind feat, and it's been less than 30 days. Also, Heather is shooketh.
Just made it all kinds of ominous. They never forget, and I was like, I was worried, like, oh, damn, I wasn't gonna swindle my way out of this, but fuck you, I make it sound like they're gonna break people's kneecaps. Like, okay.
Pepperidge Farm remembers. Yes. All right then. Well, it does take a good amount of time to gather the books, read through them, parse the information that is useful to you. Does that cover the primary topics that the two of you were looking into down here?
I believe so, yes.
I think so.
Okay. We'll get back to that Ioun Stone. What are Arno and Lucas up to?
Walking in town.
Walking the streets. Seeing the sights.
And he's muted. I'm sure whatever she just said was super cute, but definitely couldn't hear it. Nope.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
That worked now.
See,
what you got?
I say things. I always look at my screen to see if it lights up green, and then I'm like, shit.
Lisa's better than me. I just put myself on push to talk and forget.
No, that's fair. Walking and trying to get as much information about the date with Amelia as possible.
Ah, yes.
What date? I didn't go on a date with Amelia.
Oh, you know what? Whatever.
The visit.
Had a conversation. I didn't realize every conversation was a date. In that case, I take back what I said about you being my first.
Listen. Amelia will count it as a date. You talked together. You had alcohol. Date in her mind. I bet you.
Well, actually, she didn't have alcohol while we were there. Only after.
I was thinking it. I wasn't going to say it.
Why would she need it after?
To recover.
I have that kind of impact on people.
Maybe I'm special, but you do not lead me to drink generally after like a few minutes in your presence. Normally.
I can think of several party members that would beg to differ.
Well, then maybe I am special.
Yeah.
What did she say? Did she say anything interesting? No, wait, I've changed my mind. More important thing, I know my sister. Did she tell you anything? She told you you couldn't tell me.
What?
Is there anything that she told you that she specifically told you to not tell me about?
Nope.
Insight check.
Absolutely. Give us those innocent puppy dog eyes, Lucas.
Please hold.
She said, please hold. Like, I can warm up. She's checking her roll, but she's like, oh, please hold.
Did you roll the huge die for the huge lie?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope it did you justice, because damn.
What'd you get, Arno?
18?
18. Well,
Meets beats.
Math.
25.
Oh,
I rolled a 17 on the die. So
How have you gotten so much? 8 bonus?
Charisma, man.
I'm very persuasive.
And deceptive. Deceptively persuasive.
Yeah, she was actually a pretty open book. I was very impressed.
My sister?
Yeah. Told me everything I wanted to know. We only stopped when I ran out of questions. She told some great stories about you.
I don't like it.
I do.
You were quite the child.
What did she tell you?
Oh, you've lived it. I don't need you to relive it.
No, but I mean, there are just so many stories, and like I would like to know what level of story she told so that I can repay her.
Why don't you tell me a story, and I'll tell you if it sounds better or worse than what she told me.
That doesn't seem fair. That seems like you're just gonna get more embarrassing stories out of me.
You never did respond to my PM asking about this. I just didn't say what it was for.
Can't tell you the story in character.
Wow. Shot yourself in the foot.
You know, you're very cute when you blush.
I dislike it. I knew I would. I knew I would. Did she say what she's been doing?
Like
besides
now?
Working for the family. Anything,
That seems to be all she's been doing.
That's it?
I know. Yeah, she said something about minors. She said something about the casino. Like, she just seems to be working all the time.
What did she say about minors?
Well, that's who she was talking to when she met my mom.
Talking to minors?
I can go back and double check to make sure I'm not a liar. Please hold.
Well, it was a mining town at the very least.
I know. I remember the word
See-
minor.
See, I know you mean miners as in like a mining town, like ores and stuff, but every time someone says miners, I was like, what are we doing with children? Like every time it confuses me. I'm like, what do you mean miners? Like that wasn't mentioned. Yes, it was, Heather.
It was a minor problem. It's fine. Some clients in the mining guilds. So yes, Lucas would call them miners, but that might be a paraphrase.
It was probably not the people who actually go into the mines.
Yeah, that would be very different. So I stick by Arno's confusion. Like,
yeah,
what?
we didn't. I didn't ask too many questions about that. I admit I was a lot more focused on other topics.
What topics?
My mother.
Okay, but like just I just want to make sure there weren't any other topics you were talking
Scrolling. Nope, my mother. My mother. Still mother. How handsome I am. My mother. Very, very straightforward conversation.
Ironically, that's the same conversation you might have had with your mother in a different timeline.
Yep.
Not incorrect.
Still scrolling. But no, we talked about keys. Told you about that already.
Yes. There might be a master key, but she is not in possession of one.
Yeah. Which is good. She also said that she can't see when you use yours, which is good to know. Would it be a big deal if anyone can see when you use yours? I don't really get how they work still.
Well, it would just mean there's a master key. If there is one. That would be that key could undo any of the alarm block spells that I was doing. Because that's what the key basically does, is, acts as a key to unlocking magic.
It could undo it?
Yeah? I mean, I don't think there's a master key, but if there was one, I would assume that it was just able to do what all the keys can do, except for everybody.
How do you make a new key?
We didn't make the keys, right? Stars?
At the very least, Arno does not know how they are made. Probably they've been handed down for at least a few generations, to your reckoning.
Yeah, he'd be like, I don't know. All the keys that I've seen have always been like heirlooms. Like they get passed down. Sort of thing.
Alright.
So I'm sure extended family somewhere might know. Like the head of our clan.
Sure it's fine.
And you never necessarily needed one in your specialty when you still worked for your dad.
Yeah.
And then after you were no longer working for your dad, he wasn't going to give you one. So.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Usually it's like a rite of passage, like you've reached like adulthood officially. Then you get a key. I fucked up right around that time, so no key for me.
That's fair. What
now? Suck it, Dad. Sorry.
Now you have one. Yes, thanks to your sister.
Well, thanks to your mom.
I don't know.
You would not have given it to me.
She made it sound like she just thought it would be a good idea. It doesn't At least from the way she was saying things, it didn't sound like the topic actually came up.
Wait, but if the topic didn't come up, then how did Darcy know about the game?
Great question. Would love to tell you.
Okay. Add that on the list of potential questions.
It's a very good one. I would also like to know that, because unless I just misunderstood your sister, which is entirely possible, it just it sound like it was like an internal thought in the middle of a different conversation. Which feels not coincidental. Especially given that my mom told your brother to mention it specifically.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have so many questions.
All of the questions. The more we find out, the more questions I have.
You know, that sounds about right. Well, how much does that message cost to send? We just send a bunch?
I mean, we could, I guess, depending on how much magic it takes.
How much?
It was 75.
Okay.
That sounds right.
Okay. So we could buy a couple and then see what we got to do.
Yeah.
And you can just send as long a message as you want.
Well, like, technically, it is a little above my area of expertise, so it might fail. So having backups would also be good, just in case I fuck it up somehow.
Okay. We can do that. Do you know where Ix got the last one?
Nope.
Okay.
She just came up to me and was like, "Here's the scroll. Can you do it?"
And you
Talk
did
to
it.
my dad. Yeah.
Cast
It
this
wasn't-
spell, please.
Yeah, right.
So.
All right.
So if I do get good at it, then I also want to scroll. We might buy them out of scrolls.
It can't hurt to have backups.
Yeah, because I want to. I have like 2 people where it'd be really great if I could send them a message.
Who?
My mom.
Oh.
You know, just to say hi.
Yeah.
And then
My mom.
my mom.
I mean, fair. Can't relate.
We were talking about her, and it made me realize that. Well, I haven't sent her a letter, and oh my god. Shit. A really long time. Fuck, I need to send a message to mom.
All right. Well, when Ix gets done with the library, we can ask her where she got hers and go get more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to watch your face and see if you get in trouble or if your mom's excited to hear from you. I feel like there's 2 options. There's 2 chances there. What's your middle name? What is she going to yell?
I don't have a middle name.
Oh. Okay.
Just you know. Yeah. Now the question is what the language she's gonna yell at me in, because like when she gets super angry, doesn't come out in Zemnian or Common anymore. Goes straight to Dwarven. She yells at you in Dwarven. She says it sounds angrier, and it gets her like emotions across properly.
I don't know why, but I equate it to German. I
Yeah,
just
right.
like it just always sounds angry.
So Zemnian is German.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to
Dwarvish.
consider that.
Yeah.
Scots?
It's gibberish.
Yeah.
Totally gets your emotions across more clearly.
That, like,
Yells at you in Scots Gaelic.
Scandinavian, like that sort of noise.
It's actually very proper British.
That'd be very funny.
Who's the other person you wanted to message?
Someone from the Grinners back
Oh,
home.
anyone
Mhm.
fun? Dear
I mean, my buddy, my mentor.
buddy. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, she's the person who got me into this. So,
Okay.
so she always has like her ear to the ground, so I feel like she would have better information about what's going on. So.
Okay, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hopefully we can buy a lot of scrolls.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Watch we get there and they're like, cool, we have one. We have one left. That's it.
Make it count. You'll have to
Yeah,
pick your options, pick your poison.
Which
If there's
does
only one,
also
we're contacting
remind
your
me.
mom.
Huh?
So, which does also remind me, speaking of affording scrolls and having enough, this is below the paragraph that I was supposed to read, but Iwo did in advance give each of you 250. Let's say no, not each of you, but he gave you 250 gold.
Yeah.
Promised another 250 on completion and 250 for each magic item that you retrieve.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Hey.
We get all the money.
Yep. So
like
maybe 250 each if we're lucky.
Well, that's 3 of us. But yeah, I guess if we get a bunch of
depending on how
items.
many magic items.
And if we don't want them for ourselves.
Yeah, that could be fun. But yeah, look us in our no chat and have a good time and evade topics and chat more.
They're usual.
Usual. Perfectly cute.
Mm-hmm.
Probably Ben has to interrupt the research to get lunch.
I don't think Ben would interrupt the research. I think he'd just wander off and look for a snack bar.
Well,
in the archives.
You are. They must be accompanied by you.
Oh, then Ben would wander off, get in trouble, and then go get his friends for lunch.
Yeah, Senka will call you back, noticing that you're wandering.
Oh, sorry, just a little hungry. I'll go get them.
I just imagine Ben's stomach interrupting the quiet of the archives.
Literally just sounds like an angry bear.
Like, the fuck was that? Oh, sorry, that's just my stomach.
Just a little peckish.
Haven't had 11sies yet.
I haven't eaten lunch since yesterday, so I gotta go get something.
I did realize there was only one bullet point that I can't remember if we actually covered on our list, which was information on the Betrayer gods, like besides the Pact and Resurrection stuff. Would we learn anything new? Or would it be kind of more
That
the
is a
same?
very broad topic.
Let's say specifically looking into Tiamat and Zahir, because those are the 2 big that we are, researching.
Okay. Still somewhat broad, but a little more narrowed down. For what it's worth, the 2 of them don't seem to have much connection to each other outside of the fact that they're both betrayer gods. They don't seem to have shared schemes at any noteworthy points that you find recorded. Let's see. So influences that they've had since being locked behind the Divine Gate?
No, like just new information about them. If there's anything that we have not previously uncovered here.
Yeah,
but
well, I was looking at the bullet point that Ix had written down, influences with a question mark, and trying to research without the Cobalt Sulfur. Well, and I see yours was Betrayer Gods and how they've been thwarted in the past. Thorn, I will say you find mention on Zahir. There is some written about the connection with Uk'otoa and how there are some others of the Betrayer Gods that had like great followers on a similar level with Uk'otoa that were not banished from Exandria and are still present somewhere, probably locked away, or else everybody would know about it. And yeah, there seems to be like just a theme of bitterness between those that were locked behind the Divine Gate and those who are still on Exandria and could be unleashed with relative ease compared to the gods, who are just unable to come back as far as anyone has found. So yeah, there are beings out there on the same level as Uk'otoa somewhere, which is a lovely thought.
Yeah, that's probably not good.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a while since I, the DM, have looked them up for my own purposes outside of this game. I think one of them might be in Marquette, but don't quote me on that until I go double check it later.
Okay.
I might double check that when we take a break.
Okay.
Pull that up so I remember to look later.
Cool.
Okay, I have those tabs open for another minute. Let's see. At Tiamat, you mostly find stories about how she and Bahamut were constantly at odds, and like at one point both tried to claim dominion or take like the actual godly dominion over dragons in general from each other, and just ended up, she got the chromatic ones, he got the metallic ones. With your natural 20, you do find some small mention of something you probably have not encountered before. There is mention of gem dragons.
Oh.
And another dragon deity that little is known about.
Okay, I'll mention that to Ix in like a, hey, if Bahamut doesn't work out, maybe looking to this gem dragon god could be helpful to your brother. Said in character, specifically.
Yes.
Oh, Ix wouldn't hold her excitement. She'd feel like that. There's a gem dragon god? That sounds amazing. God, she must be beautiful. Or he. Them?
I don't know, it doesn't give me a name.
Oh, Ix will want to look into that more later.
You do find also a name.
Oh, okay.
For this gem dragon god.
Never mind, it did give me a name. I just had to read the next sentence.
That was perfect.
The name surprisingly rings a bell. It is Sardior.
Sardior. How do you spell that?
Sardior.
Oh, I actually got that spelled correctly.
Sardior. The ruby dragon.
Saudior the Ruby Dragon, which sounds a little bit like a Pokemon.
What the fuck are
Love that.
Pokemon?
And I am curious if anybody out of character or in character, I suppose, remembers where that name has been encountered.
No.
Nope.
We've
I
encountered
remember
that
the name.
in the game.
Yes.
I think it was back at the Betrayer's Rise.
If I
Like-
have it in here, I didn't spell it right the first time.
Yeah.
It was a little bit inconsequential at the time. It was one of the 3 lizards that you were betting on at the Lux Run.
Oh.
I found it. I just found it. Yep. I spelled it wrong. I'm gonna fix it. I-O-R.
Sardior.
Yeah, I was way off.
Sardi or even one.
Ooh.
It's rigged.
Do you remember if that dragon was a red dragon?
It was a pearlescent white.
Would a pearl be considered a gem type, do you think?
I mean, it's a ruby dragon.
Just because it's ruby doesn't mean it doesn't have babies.
I mean, this was a lizard, not a dragon.
We don't know. Dragon could be small.
I guess?
One of the other lizards, one of them was Fordak.
He
And
was
then
red.
Devosa.
Yes. Who is the like the guardian patron of Uncarel, Devosa.
I would like all of you to stop dissuading Ix here because I desperately want to see her go back to the casino, go up to this little dragon, and be like, "Excuse me."
Listen, we're not convincing her of anything in character.
May I have a word, Miss,
Like who-
Sir, person?
Who has speak with animals?
I do.
There's a trope for that. What you do?
Yeah. I've used it in game to talk to Flying Snake.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The blue one.
Yeah.
I like how Beth said that. Yeah.
Because it matched me.
It was told to find the one dark elf, one of the 2 dark elves in the city.
One of the 2?
Well, the other one came here with you.
Oh,
Hey.
right. Yeah. I forgot Galsariad existed. Okay.
Yeah. I almost caught myself halfway through saying the number 1. It's like the only one of the only 2.
Cool. All right. I imagine Arno and Lucas come back at some point.
You know
Do we
who
have
else
to?
has speak with animals? Kibble does.
Yeah, I knew people did. Because she talked to Spren for me. She's so nice.
He's a good girl.
But yes, that is the little bit of information you find that strikes your notice.
Nice. Okay. We leave.
Yeah, seems like little is known in general about Sardior and the Gem Dragons.
Lucas and Arno go get lunch.
Who
They
always
walk
say
around.
Yeah.
It's having a good time.
Thorn, Ix, and Benga, the Cobalt Sullen, are just like, I think they ditched us.
Well, let's go get lunch without them.
Sounds good. Might as well.
Then we see them like 2 stalls down, like, those assholes, there they are.
Out of curiosity, whereabouts would Arno and Lucas have been wandering? Just in the guided district among all the other temples? Just because there's
Yeah.
streets there? There's
Yeah,
streets
I don't
everywhere,
feel like
but-
they would have gone really far.
Yeah, same.
Arno might have shown him the well. Lucas hasn't seen the well. Been like, this is where the shit happened. This is where.
Ix went down that?
Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. a holy experience on this little seat down in a well. You know,
it's not a short walk, but it's not super far away.
We have time. They're reading a lot.
They were probably spending like hours reading.
Honestly, though, probably.
That's not too bad. So. That's less than a quarter mile.
Yeah. Oh,
we're fit. We can walk.
That's pretty good, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's just this little whatever this courtyard is, not far from the temple, right under the D in guided. The D at the end of guided.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know what that is because it's not described anywhere, so it can be whatever we need it to be.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think going down into a hallucinating well is on my bucket list, but that was still fun to look at.
Yeah. Is it wrong that I'm very tempted to go into the well?
I mean, you already talked to your god, don't you?
I mean, she doesn't really talk to me.
Well, what does she do?
I mean, I just follow her tenets. I don't expect her to like show up and be like, "Good job." You know. But most people don't actually get to have like conversation with their gods. Like that usually is a very special thing. And I'm already wearing a necklace that's tied 3 gods. Like I don't actually need them to like show up. Have conversations.
It's got the power of her and her 2 buds.
Already plenty of responsibility if she like showed up and be like, "You're my chosen one. Go do this." Lots of pressure.
You know, that's fair. So maybe you don't want to go into the well.
But I'm so curious.
I mean, I'm not going to stop you if you want to get wet.
I won't get wet. No, because you're super strong, so you won't drop me. You better not drop me.
Go ahead if
I
you
didn't
want.
drop X.
I wouldn't drop you.
And I have noodle.
Potentially.
Just like 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes.
I want a strength check, please.
Are we lowering Arno into the well then?
Apparently so. Lucas isn't about to stop this decision.
Stars is over here like, I planned for everything else, and you motherfuckers going back to this stupid fucking well.
You make the assumption that I planned anything for today. I have plans that were made like 3 months ago, and I'm just writing on that. All right, well, Lucas, if you would be so kind as to give me a strength check as you lower Arno into the well on the little rope seat.
Strength check with my big die. What's my modifier?
Big strong die.
Oh, totally strong. Strength check, just strength?
Yeah.
That is
strong
a 12.
Die for a strong guy.
Oh,
12.
God.
12 is enough. To lower Arno relatively steadily down, and little to no danger of your grip slipping and him falling into the water.
Oops.
I hope he doesn't fall. Okay, so Arno, you are being gradually lowered on this little wooden seat hanging from a rope. The well, very dark down here. You're able to see reasonably well still, being a dwarf. There is enough light coming from overhead. It is getting close to midday, so the sun's not directly over you, but the light does come down a fair way. There is some of it glinting off of the specks of silver color that are within the midnight blue bricks of this well, so that as much as Ix described, it is like being under a starry sky. You head down. I'm trying to recall. I want to say it was like 80 feet down or something like that before you get down to where the water is. It is very quiet, very peaceful, tranquil. It's almost like a sensory deprivation sort of thing. Whatever that is. Who knows who's ever heard of that term before? Xandria. Okay. You're down here kind of chilling. Make a religion check for me.
I think this is the first time his religion check has been. Yeah. 9.
9. Okay. You said you're spending about 5 minutes down here?
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty relaxing. It's a little boring.
That's okay. Actually, what he's gonna do after like 5 minutes, and like if nothing happens, but he's just like, in a peaceful mood, is the acoustics in a well are probably fantastic. So
very echoey, probably.
Yeah,
layered.
Mm-hmm. So he would start probably humming first, and then to hear the acoustics, and then just having fun singing down there. Little song and offering to the spirits who dwell in the well.
Make a performance check.
People in the district just hear strange haunting music coming from within
it
the
would
well.
definitely not be like his normal light thing. It would just be like really beautiful, but playing with the echoes, like deep and like slow and.
Okay. Did you roll already?
I did.
What did you get?
Mod 20.
Okay. So yes, the effect goes more or less how you intended then. You're able to, play a little sequence and then play off of the echo like, layered chorus sort of thing. Like how nowadays with electronic synthesizers, you've probably seen people play part of a song, hit a button to loop it, play another part of the song, loop that. You're basically doing that, but with echoes.
See, I just realized that I on accident did more Disney princess shit with Arno because Snow White sang into a well and played with the echoes, and now.
Look, Arno didn't sing into a well. Arno is in the well.
Well, like.
He's taking it a level deeper.
He always goes a little bit extra.
We have to go deeper. So Snow White was doing a call and response. You're layering your music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you get the feeling, whether it is real or imagined, that if there are spirits present here, they probably liked it.
Yeah. And then he would probably look up and just gonna be like, all right, you can pull me up now.
This does so.
All right. Make another strength check just to see how smoothly that goes.
13.
Okay. Yeah, you go up a couple feet at a time. Is like It's a little jerky, but you get up to the top, and Lucas presumably gives you a hand up off of the seat to get out of there.
Yeah.
Also, before he pulls Arno up, Lucas is gonna put just 2 gold in the dirt near the well, but a little off to the side, not directly in front of him, just a little chunk.
Well, this entire courtyard is stone tiles.
That's fine. It's just, around the well. He's gonna put a coin on the ground.
Place it behind the little placard that you can't read.
No. It's gonna be obvious, but just
Okay.
like on the ground. Because when he does pull Arno up and he gets Arno situated, he's gonna be like, "Nice performance. Look, someone left you a tip."
Ah.
Oh. Oh shit. Okay.
My hands were full. I couldn't thank them properly.
I was just fucking around, but I appreciate it.
Well, apparently, even when you fuck around, you draw attention. So good job.
Thanks.
Well, he had to find out somehow. How else are you gonna find out, right?
Of course.
All right.
So are we able to meet up around this time?
Yeah.
I was gonna say I will have one person between Arno and Lucas, and one person from the other three of you. Let's have Ben roll this, since Tony was a little bit more passive librarian role for that part. Let's have Lucas and Ben. Each of you roll me. I almost want to change my mind because you look so excited with that giant D20. I was gonna say roll me D100.
Just have to get you a big D100.
Partly because those don't get used near enough. Oh wow.
Not as cool of an effect, but that's okay.
At least they rattle together.
D100. Two. Divine intervention.
Heather's over here, like, you rolled a D100 and you got a 19? Like, yeah, it's on the 100, 1 to 100.
And then
You get a 2.
Just get the 2 and I'm like,
Thank
are you
you for
guys
that.
trying?
If I was a cleric, I'd be really excited right now. I just want you to know that.
You should have saved it for Saturday.
It's okay. My cleric's already successfully rolled a divine intervention before, so it might be a bit much.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So yes, Ben, leading your compatriots that were down in the archives, you come up to the ground level. Don't see Arno and Lucas anywhere. You check the front. You don't see Arno and Lucas anywhere. Who knows where they've gone?
I'm sorry, can you say that again real quick? I missed a
You have
part of
no
that.
idea where your other two friends are. It's like you came up to the ground level out of the archive, can't find them anywhere. You went up to the entrance, looked around, you don't see him anywhere.
Okay, thank you. Well, like I said, they probably went and got lunch without us. We don't need them, so what are we waiting for?
Yeah, we can get lunch and then meet them back at the inn. Hopefully they're smart enough to head back there sooner rather than later.
Unless you think something happened to them. Do you think something happened to them?
Nah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I doubt they're doing anything shady, midday in public.
Ix is suddenly like, let's go find them.
Ix drills up and he's like, maybe I should look for him. No, she would go eat with Ben and Thorn, and then go back to the inn.
Beautiful.
I love how this has just become like Thorn's thing of people being like, I don't know, what if they're in trouble? And Thorn's like, nah.
Have I been wrong?
So Arno and Lucas, you arrive back at the Temple of the Mentor, and you are told that you don't find your friends. You're told that they already came up and left.
Those bastards left without us.
I know.
ditched us first.
Expected them to take way longer in the library. Full of forbidden information.
That's fine. I'll just have to take you out to lunch.
What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah.
I really thought that 19 meant that you guys were going to get back to the temple before they came up from the archive, but...
Well, I rolled a 2, so
Then you
I
rolled
guess...
a 2. All right. Well, does anybody have any chicanery they wish to get up to during the day? I'll presume eventually you guys are able to meet back up in time to make plans for the evening, but is there anything you wish to do before jumping ahead a little bit?
Let's jump ahead.
Yeah. The only thing I just want to go to the forge at some point so bad. I want to finish the armor. But, you know.
That's not gonna happen tonight. We have to do some recon. We have a bakery we need to buy,
Today we're
dude.
busy.
We have pastries we need to investigate, okay?
What district is that bakery in again?
The River District?
River District. Let's see. If you can take a peek at the map.
Yep, I see it.
So, well, the feathers at your inn right now, the spot that was circled was up here on the northern edge of the River District. Just to the right of the word district.
Okay. Cool. Not close enough to get baked goods from right now.
I mean,
we could. We don't know how late they're open.
Charles is stroking his beard.
It's up to you guys. Let's see. So you eat lunch probably different places. Meet up at the Foolish Serpent. Probably not too long after lunch. I would think both groups would think of that as like a logical meeting point since you missed each other at the temple. So yeah, let's say by mid-afternoon, early to mid-afternoon, you are all at the Foolish Serpent, waiting to meet each other, and then can plan what to do for the evening.
I imagine when we all meet up, X will be like, "Where did you guys go?"
We walked around and we came back to the temple. Where'd you go?
No, you got to start out. Well, we walked around.
Fantastic.
We were at the temple. We waited for you. We looked around. Admittedly, we didn't go too far, but I didn't think you guys would go too far either. So we had lunch and then came here.
Yeah, we kind of just figured you ditched us.
That's fine. Sounds remarkably like our day.
No.
Yep. Minus the
Going back to the temple. Then we had lunch.
Now, Ixford relay any additional information from the library. Anything that was pertinent mostly to, Elixir and Kalmaro. She will then excitedly go on a little mini tangent about Sardior and about how there might be another dragon god and there might be gem dragons, and that just sounds magical. Kid at Christmas. That's how she sounds when she talks about this dragon. She doesn't even know this dragon. She has no idea if it's real, but the idea of it alone is like Santa Claus to her. Like,
adorable.
She's excited. But yeah, that's what she would go, and then from there she'd be like, "Well, apart from that, when do you think we should go to the bakery?"
We can go now.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be important to case the place a little bit? Go in, maybe buy a loaf of bread, maybe have a casual conversation where somebody overhears that one of us is looking for magical weapons and no one seems to have any. I don't know if that's too obvious.
I mean, we can just go in and buy some baked goods and then leave.
They might have funny flame bread.
Ooh.
Mm,
I could ask to see how they make it. That could get us in the back.
that's true. Or if you guys
Espacho can make an appearance. The magical baker.
or if
Gazpacho.
people are distracting them by buying things, then I can always slip into the back.
I like that.
See what I can find.
Let's do that. Let's all make a visit without Arno, and then Arno will just come on in and just show himself around.
No.
I might
God,
disguise myself for this one as well.
Probably. a
Ooh,
good
we should
idea.
all put on disguises.
No. You can, though.
Ben is already getting out his disguise kit.
I mean, Luke, you could just, make your hair red again, and that'd be a disguise.
Oh yes, your hair red again would be really nice.
Not that I disagree, but is now really the time? Right this second.
All right, well, when is the time then?
I mean, we might as well go in first with me as a brunette, and then go back to being a redhead.
That's true.
Because I don't think places will be open by the time we get done.
Now,
Right.
We'll have to wait till tomorrow.
if I recall, we're only doing reconnaissance with this right now, right? Like, the Cobalt Soul doesn't necessarily want us to bring anybody in, they just want to know
I mean,
if
we're
there's any
potentially
truth to
gonna get
this.
magic items. They'll pay us for any magic items we find.
They want us to bring back proof.
Okay.
Yeah, so no arrests, just proof. So yeah, Thorn's right.
Either way, I'm not dyeing my hair before we go, because then the place will definitely be closed.
That's true.
I would like baked goods.
All right, let's go get you some rolls. Come on. To the bakery across town.
Alrighty. Walking or carriages or kibble?
Squat a lot!
Squat a lot. I guess you never did buy a carriage for kibble to pull.
No, we do have to
forgot
do
that
that
was-
at some point. But
that-
I
Kurt,
mean,
that
but
was-
also,
we're already far along.
You
that we
had
probably won't be
downtime.
coming back. Yeah. At this point, it's not profitable.
Also, Arno doesn't like the idea of her looking like she's a workhorse. He's his sweet spoiled baby. Like, if he doesn't want people riding her, then he doesn't want her to have to
Pull all
pull
of
a
you.
carriage.
I have an idea.
No,
This is probably a bad idea.
no.
So we got to go to the bakery to see. The bakery's the front, right?
Potentially, yes.
Would why we just said your horse's name like 7 times? Kibble.
Kibble.
Wow. Would Kibble be willing to pretend to pull a carriage, but is secretly a flying carpet carrying a very rich guy who's at the bakery to buy some baked goods?
This sounds like something Thorn would come up with.
I'm a little offended because I am confused by this.
Okay, so I'm thinking as Tony here, not as Ben, but I'm thinking Prince Ali from Aladdin.
Marvelous
We show up,
Lee.
not necessarily Prince Ali, but that's the ruse, right? We're just gonna roll up on a magic carpet, and we're gonna have the horse pulling it, and we can
That's the
use our
vibe.
disguises to look super rich, and then they'll
and instead
want
of a
to
monkey, you
serve
have
us
a red panda.
weapons. And
Or we
honey
just
flame
walk
bread.
in with lots of money and go buy some baked goods.
But what kind of ruse is that supposed to be?
You know what? I kind of want to vote on this because
Ben slowly puts away his disguise kit.
disguise is still a good idea. You know,
He pulls it
just
out again.
Kibble pulling a magic carpet that's already flying. That has a rich person
It's
on
a
it.
show of wealth. It doesn't have to make sense. It's what rich people do.
See, but if that was the case, then the magic carpet should be pulled by an exotic animal like a panda.
Oh, heck, I'll ride Kibble then, and the magic carpet can pull Kibble.
We
What?
should keep in mind that if we flash too much money, we might, seem like we're cops in disguise. Because we're talking about walking in there with magic item money from the start instead of baked good money. So...
That's true. What
Okay, maybe you're right.
you could possibly do is go in there looking for baked goods and then act like the tourists that we obviously are. And start being like, oh, I wonder where you can get magic. Do you think it would be the bazaar? Like, have conversation outside of them and see if maybe that piques their interest.
Yeah, that kind of subtle thing could work.
Yeah.
But we can still take the magic carpet there, right?
You did already say the word.
Yeah.
I did.
Let's just not, show it off, Let's just get there, put it away, low-key.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
So,
Yes.
so what is the plan?
We're gonna go there. We're gonna walk in, and we're gonna buy baked goods.
Is Kibble coming at all?
No.
Okay. I just want to know how many parties are at play here. How many NPCs I'm dealing with.
Before we land, but once we get basically there, Thorin will cast Disguise Self to look like a normal, not half dark elf. Just nondescript.
Normal man.
And Arno will go invisible.
I am Mr. Smith. Yes,
Basically.
I am human.
All right. Well, to do this properly, let us go to the streets of the River District.
A new map!
Or the
Fallen tree.
River District Canal, as it is so called. Let's put that on the map layer. Just because that's more. All
Yeah,
right.
what happened to that tree?
So, incidentally, a tree appears to have fallen or been cut at some point. But that is neither here nor there. You all, I will say, which way would you be approaching from? Let me look at the big map again for a second, because this is an actual spot on the map. Are you more likely to have cut through a basically straight path, or would you be going around the fancy districts, like through the bazaar, or counterclockwise, like around the circlet walk up to the southern end of the river district?
I mean, we're flying, so I see no reason why we wouldn't just take a straight path.
Straight there.
Going straight across. Okay, I like it. So coming from the southwest, so I'll say probably you guys are coming from down this little pathway on the bottom left. So you may place your tokens. I will see what I ought to be reading. Okay. All right. The soft sound of water lapping against canal banks is audible as you approach the building. Scents of honey and rose mingle with the smell of freshly cut grass. Old Man Crooks is painted in large letters above the door. And there's more to that that is irrelevant for me to read because it's not after closing yet.
The
Closing.
whole place
time.
changes.
Can we take a break?
Let's take a break.
Nice.
And then we'll just get into this when we come back from the break.
Sounds good.
And we're back, and Arno is not on the map. Little stinker. All right. I will say, on your approach to the bakery, while you're still in the air, beelining from your inn over the river district, you do see down below is the area with all the canals and the farmland. There are still a number of farm workers tending fields and doing whatever they're doing towards the end of the day. But then toward the edge, where one of these canals is coming to an end, you do find the building you were looking for that was marked on the map. It doesn't seem particularly busy over here. This is almost up to the Alluvium district. Like you can still hear crowd noise and street noise a little further in to that district, but out on the edge here, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of foot traffic coming to patronize this bakery. It's pretty slow right now.
So, guys, what did we ultimately pick as our disguises?
I'm not disguising myself.
I'm
Lucas is a handsome paladin. Everybody else?
Fletcher as himself.
Guest starring. I just love this. I love that. Now, Ix isn't. Does she? No, she gave her cloak away. I mean, she could borrow one of your cloaks if you guys want her to cover her hair or something. But
Also, let me make one quick adjustment. Oh. There we go.
what'd you do? Oh, there I am.
She brought back the blonde.
Can't forget that.
Now she's in a tree.
I think
She's in
No,
the
she's in
canal.
the river.
Oh, right.
Sorry, I'm done.
Ix
Yeah,
has gone
that's
into the
fine.
river multiple points.
I was like, I can just get on the edge, and I've just fallen in.
There we go.
So yeah, I'll put on a cloak if you guys want me to put on a cloak. But
I mean, I don't know if we all need to like disguise who we are. I just wanted to not stick out so much.
and you look so weird, just not being you.
Thank you. Like, what
Yeah,
is that
that's how that
supposed to
exchange would
mean?
That's how that would go.
Let's see. So Thorn is.
Arno would disguise himself as the scenery, since he's invisible.
Okay. I know that's the icon I always use for stealth. I don't know what icon to use for a disguise. I use this one, even though that's apparently supposed to be the icon for you've been punched up and your face is unrecognizable.
What?
Depending on how we roll on those disguise checks.
It's like, oh man, what happened to you? What are you talking about? I know, it's just your face. It's like, this is just what my face looks like. It's like, oh, my condolences.
That's some messed up crap. Somebody walks up like, "Oh, that's your face. I'm sorry." Like, damn, bitch, I was just walking around.
Or even better, oh, what is that growing out of your neck? Oh, never mind. It's just your face.
That's just rude.
That's like a third grader's insult.
All right, so that is a pretty. I like that. All right, so Arno's invisible. Ben is. Are you? What are you, Gazpacho?
No, Ben's gonna use disguise self to make himself look like the guy he fought in the arena with all the tattoos, all up and down, all of his bare skin, but with a mustache.
Bare skin.
The frickin' mustache. And then Thorn is just looking like a regular elf.
Yeah, like maybe whatever complexion is most common in Marquette amongst elves. I don't know entirely what type of elves typically like live here.
High elves mostly.
He's looking like a high elf.
That tracks.
Which kind?
Dude.
I mean, he is carrying around ruidium.
I mean, maybe he's gonna get some brownies at the bakery. It's fine.
That's what they're really selling at night.
All right, let's keep it moving.
Edibles.
Let's go.
I see. Oh, here we go.
Oh, you got that fast. And I don't have any problem with this situation, Ix, but I would like you to know that you're currently on top of me.
The hell I'm not.
You totally are.
I'm one up and one over.
Yeah, that's what I see
Not
too.
according to my according to my screen. You're right on top of Lucas's token.
Maybe she lagged on your screen for some reason.
It's okay. It's fine. It was just funny.
Well,
anyway,
I don't
into
have
the bakery.
anything covered for that. Yeah, we're gonna, I guess, use the front door.
Walk into the bakery. Which one's the front door? Okay.
Oh, yes. The sign is over this one. Yes.
Totally walking in. Lucas totally offers Ix his arm if she wants to take it.
Oh, she will seem a little bashful about it, but she'll totally take it without making eye contact.
Okay, let me reveal the interior of this place for us here.
It's a bakery!
Oh my god, it's a bakery. Damn it. She beat me to it again!
Oh, I had a joke there. I chose not to make it.
Don't talk to me.
Zigzag boy.
Their little bell.
Trying to. Oh, here we go.
Who's?
That's you.
Oh, is that
That's
supposed to be
you, Thor.
me?
It's gonna be.
It is now.
He does look weird.
Man, what's up with your face?
Blue hair instead of blue skin? What?
Thorn, you're looking a little pale. Are you sick?
Coming down with something.
Okay, reveal a little more of this interior here. Okay. Let's see, is there a description? Okay. All right, those of you up front, enter the bakery. There is a little silver bell that jingles when you open the door. There are a number of baked goods in display cases, a few cookies, some bread rolls, just various things, various smells. There is the aforementioned honey and rose scents are some of the more prominent. Um, let's see. Inside, you do see a somewhat older orc gentleman with an apron that has like a little pink, possibly frosting stain on one edge of it. He's got a little chef's hat that's kind of flopped to one side. Some stringy white hair is visible and a thin white beard. He's just behind the counter, seems to be taking inventory of some things. But he sees you enter. It's like, yes, customers, welcome, welcome. Can I get you anything?
Yes, we couldn't help but notice the smell of honey outside. And I can also smell it in here. And I'd love to know which of your goods is the one producing it.
Ben is really excited in agreement with this.
Let me show you right over here. And let's say, I need to be on the correct tool. He comes around, leads you to one of the displays where it looks like there's some kind of sticky bun. And as he starts showing off the various things, he does get to something that resembles the honey flame bread.
Ooh.
Ben, he shows you these. You get a good whiff of them now that you know where to direct your nose.
Ben has already forgotten why we're here.
Possibly because you got spoiled on the lady in the bazaar's honey flame bread. It was like even better than back home. These ones, it seems like the honey part has kind of dried out a little bit. Maybe they might be like over spiced. But I mean, it's still technically honey flame bread.
Sir, are you the one who bakes these?
Yes, I am. Fresh every day.
Do these actually look fresh?
Make a perception check.
Do I even need to roll an insight check on that? Because it's bad honey flame bread.
I'm gonna say Ben can just tell. He's either just not as good as the other lady, or these may have been out for a
15
day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. 15.
You just kept going up in numbers, sir.
That's you've seen much better. You've seen worse, but it was in Bazozan.
I mean, I feel like few foods look worse than the ones we encountered in Bazozan.
Ben's still gonna eat a whole piece of it if he can. How much for it?
Let's see. Oh, that will be 1 silver each.
Thorn visibly wrinkles his nose at Ben for eating it anyway.
Just reveal the rest of the room that y'all are in, since you got angles on that room. Also, I can only kind of tell. I need to adjust the opacity of my shadow, because some of these I'm having trouble telling, like, out to what point did I reveal. Let's see. A little darker.
Ben's gonna say, I would normally eat like 3 or 4 of these, but I'm sorry, sir, these aren't fresh. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's you try the first one. It's the honey is definitely old and kind of dried out. The pastry is definitely getting stale, and there's it's like he tried to cover it up with more spice, but that almost just makes it worse.
Rookie
Actually, not
mistake.
almost. It does just make it worse.
Now that he's out from behind the counter, do we notice any keys on his person that are just kind of loose?
Let's see. Doesn't have like a jingly key ring hanging from his belt that you notice.
No necklaces or bracelets that might have keys on them?
No, he's dressed pretty innocuously. It doesn't seem to be carrying anything that a baker wouldn't normally have.
All right.
All of his utensils are in the kitchen area behind him. Also, Arno, what you up to during this?
Arno is gonna be peeking around, see if he sees any windows on the outside to like what this area
Right.
is.
Let's see. I'm looking around. Surprisingly, no windows.
No windows?
You do find two other exterior doors, though. One, this one by you. Most likely, that's probably, if he lives here, that's probably like his quarters or something. Since the other entrance has like the big sign that indicates it's the business entrance. And then around the back, there's another door that might lead to like a storage area or something like that.
Can I? Is there anyone around back here?
There actually is not anyone around at the moment. Oh, also, those of you inside, behind the counter here, there is a door. That little blue bit that I'm going to reveal a bit more of.
What is the door made of?
Let me see if it says. Wooden door.
Okay.
It does appear to have a lock on it, but you do not know if it is currently locked.
Like, I'm just saying, like, the honey flame bread, I think it probably was good once, but where did you make it? Did you make it right over there?
You can tell he's like getting a little visibly self-conscious about the quality of his baked goods getting called out.
No.
Like,
I want to help you. Let's make some better honey flame bread. Let's make some more. You and me, right here.
Make an insight check.
They don't make shit here. They buy it elsewhere and just bring it in. I bet you.
Nope.
He is deeply hurt that you did not like his honey flame bread. He's like, I made it myself. Yes, right back in my kitchen. I'm sorry it was not to your liking.
Oh no! I mean, I'm just saying it could have been, but I just want to help you make it's. I'm a chef. Gazpacho.
No.
You may have heard of my famous mustache.
Thorn is just sorry. I didn't realize you weren't finished. Please continue.
This is just what I look like under my chef's robes. I'm totally cut.
Thorn is just going to look over at Lucas and mouth the words, "What is happening?"
Lucas just very slowly mimes a sigh.
He looks at you a little confused, a little quizzical, as like, I thought you were that tattoo artist from the bazaar.
I get that a lot, but like, look at this. And he's just gonna point to his mustache.
I mean, I didn't remember that you had a mustache, but
That's because I'm not the same guy.
okay.
Come on, take me over here. Show me where you make the bread.
Make a persuasion check?
Oh, this is clever. He's trying to distract him so we can do shit, guys.
I'm going to just automatically roll this with advantage because I have inspiration for something.
Very good. Probably making bad jokes.
Probably. Okay.
Good job on that advantage.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
then. Well, he seems reticent to accept your help, but you're just like so forcefully willing to offer it. He's having trouble getting a word in to turn you down. He's like, sure. Did anybody else want to buy anything first? He looks at the rest of you that are inside.
Yes, actually. And Lucas points at the case that he is standing in front of. It's not going to be the honey flame bread one. It's just a random case, whatever it is.
Okay. We'll say that's the. There are some. Looks like cookies with some pink frosting on them. That matches the little stain he has on his apron. Okay, those are 3 copper each.
Great. I'll take 2. 3, actually.
Oh, okay then. Following proper food handling procedures, he bags 3 of the cookies for you.
He's so nervous.
They are slightly heavier than you expected from the size of them. Not like crazy. They're not like made of lead or something like that, but it's like they got some heft to them.
Guys, he's running this business, right? Like the selling of the items business, but his real passion is baking, and we just shat all over it, and he's trying his best to get out of this life.
I'm delighted.
But yes, after that transaction, he does somewhat against his will lead Gaspacho into the kitchen, where you can start showing him how to improve his honey flame bread. So Arno, there are a couple of doors, possibly to his quarters, possibly to a storage area.
Yeah. Can I do an investigation check on that back door?
Certainly. What are you investigating?
Checking for traps, seeing if there's any sort of like magical locks, anything besides just a standard door.
Gotcha. Roll your check, if you please.
Yeah.
While this tail flicks you in the face.
It's just get in my way. Okay.
It's like a little snake charmer thing. It's just floating right there.
Yeah.
Cattail charmer.
Hold on. It is an investigation as +3, so 22.
Alrighty. 22. You feel pretty confident. This door is locked, but it doesn't seem to have anything else particular going on with it.
Sorry, it broke up a little bit. Does not have?
It is locked, but it doesn't seem to have anything else going on.
Okay. And then,
you feel like you checked it pretty thoroughly.
My cat is curled up in my dice bag.
Lovely.
So making rolls is going to be hard now. Can I try to lockpick that door?
You can.
Let's see. Can I have my thing back? Thank you. Sleight of hand, right? Okay.
Well, it would be its own check, just dexterity plus proficiency plus your D4. Or double proficiency if you have expertise in it. So if you're proficient in sleight of hand, I suppose it would be the same thing. Just add your D4.
Well, I'm an expertise in sleight of hand. I don't know how to check to see if it's expertise in.
How many skills do you have expertise in?
Just one.
Then probably you should have 2 total. So probably your other one is Thieves' Tools.
Okay. So then 18 plus 10 plus...
Which would line up with your previous line of work.
That makes sense. 18 plus 10 plus 3, so 31?
I mean, you didn't even need to add anything to it, but yes, 31 is more than enough. Let's see. Yeah, the DC was 15. It's not a super complicated lock.
Okay.
Yeah, you more than doubled it. You can, if you were of a mind to, you could completely dismantle it without making a sound.
I mean, he doesn't want people to know that he broke it in.
I'm just saying that's how good you opened the lock.
That is true. He knows the exact make who made this lock.
So like in lieu of that, you can open it quickly and quietly without leaving a mark anywhere. But yes, you successfully pick the lock. Let's see. And you taking a peek inside, I assume?
Yes. Yeah, he's taking a peek, seeing what's in there.
We'll reveal another room here. As soon as you crack the door, go ahead and make a stealth check. As soon as you crack the door open, this smell just hits you. It is not a bakery smell.
24 stealth.
Excellent. You believe yourself to be smell of decay hits your nose. It is not a pleasant smell.
Like, what type of decay? Like death decay, or like mold?
Stars, I better not have eaten something worse than stale honey flame bread.
Yeah, this is not. It was not a meat pie.
Other's face. Oh my god.
It's not a barber shop. But kind of all of the above. There's like rotted goods and like old like refuse. To use a fun word I never get to say in real life, perhaps a little bit of effluvium. I never get to say that word like in a sentence, so thank you for the opportunity for that. You do see at the far end, looks like some iron manacles bolted to the wall. Variety of stains on the floor, some of them rather dubious. There are jugs of water, loose pieces of jewelry, a number of crates, or a couple of crates around there. Yeah, you can see the table that has a. Oh, actually, no. Now that I'm looking at it, I can parse this image a little better. Yeah, no, it looks like there's 4 sets of iron manacles up in this corner. Yeah, table with a couple of chairs, and then just some scattered items on this little counter around the corner from the door. So this is not a very nice room.
A counter?
Say again?
Is there anything interesting on like the counter? Like anything that looks fancy?
Oh, a finger, ring still attached.
No, none of the rings still have a finger in them that you notice. Yeah, no, just yeah, bits of assorted jewelry of like mid quality. Nothing aristocratic in here. This is like somebody's favorite pendant that they got from their parent or their something like that. Nothing like fancy family heirlooms that are worth thousands of gold or anything like that.
Yeah. Arno's going to message Lucas and just be
Lucas,
like,
you hear a whisper in your ear.
Hey, I found like a dungeon back here. It has manacles like attached to walls. It's not good. Sanctuary.
Thank you.
Followed up with sanctuary.
Appreciated. Lucas would not visibly react to that. And his eyes would just kind of flick towards the one door that we can see, and then he would message. He doesn't have to speak out loud, right? We've done this before.
You do speak out loud, but it's a whisper that only the recipient can hear, but your lips do move.
Okay.
Yeah.
So his eyes would flick towards the other door, and then he would turn to look at one of the cabinets of baked goods, so that his back is towards whatever direction the baker went.
And he is being distracted by Ben at the moment.
Yes, but he's still turning away for double measure there. And he would message back. Can you tell where in the building you are in relation to where we are?
He would message back and be like, the far back. So behind.
The main bakery.
Far back. Yeah, behind the main bakery.
Oh, also, just in case it becomes relevant for Arno, There is a wooden door right here that is just obviously a normal door, but then to either side of it, there appears to be like they're obvious from this side, but they look like they might be hidden or trick doors from the other side. So there's 3 doors along that wall to his right, toward the bottom.
Okay. So, but on Arno's side, it looks no. It's not like the secret door is leading somewhere, except the secret door is leading to the room he's in.
That's what you would presume.
Yeah. Okay.
And the one in the middle just looks like a normal door, not a trick door.
So we took the magic carpet to get here.
Yeah.
But like, and we're just kind of out in the middle of nowhere. You kind of said we're kind of like around farmlands.
Yeah, you're like between the farmlands and like the outer edge of like where more buildings and residential and business areas continue further from where you are.
Okay. So Arno sent Lucas a message, so I technically have the ability to respond to him again. So
if he sends you another message,
yeah, he did.
Then you can. Okay, yes, then you can respond each time he sends you a message.
I asked a clarifying question in between, but like Arno said something, and then I can say something back. So, is there anyone back there with you? Are you alone?
Make a perception check on him.
Wait, my perception is shit. Yeah, 16.
You are alone.
I think so.
I just noticed something on the map that's still hidden, and I hope you see it later.
Oh no.
You know, inspecting the map. No, it's fine.
Find out what the rest of that fog of war area is.
Okay. Do you see any trace of the magic items we're supposed to be looking for?
No. These are these boxes?
Yeah, you so far have just taken a cursory look around the room. But yeah, those are a couple of crates that look like they might have some stuff in them.
Yeah, so he would then have a like. Hold on, let me check something. And would slowly make his way.
Making his way.
You don't touch anything necessarily. How big is this place? I can count this, right? Is it as big as the picture makes it seem?
I would presume it's to scale. So yeah, the room that Arno is in is 15 feet by 25 feet. The building itself, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 45 feet from very front to very back.
Okay. Not that it matters, because in Lucas saying don't touch anything, I can't exactly send Arno another message. But as he's doing his thing, and as I'm still turned away from the baker, I would like to cast Detect Magic.
Oh.
I can sense the presence of magic within 30 feet of me. The spell can penetrate most barriers, but is blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt. But I don't think the door is 3 feet thick.
It most certainly is not. Let's see. All right, go ahead and, just for fun, make me a sleight of hand check to cast your spell.
Go check that modifier. I don't know that one by heart. Cool. 16.
16. Okay. You cast the spell under your breath, do the motions required. Glance behind you. It doesn't seem like the baker has taken notice of you doing anything out of the ordinary. He is deep in conversation with Sonora Gaspacho. Let's see, though. In the immediate area, you don't feel the presence of anything in this room besides what you and your friends brought with you. So the usual. Let's see. Okay. So from where you are, that gets most of the way in there. Check one thing just to make sure I give you correct information. What were the limitations again on what blocks it?
1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, a thin sheet of lead, or 3 feet of wood or dirt.
Okay. At the moment, you do not detect the presence of any magic items that you were not already aware of.
All right, cool.
But you can maintain that for a little while.
Yep, 10 minutes.
All right. So, Arno, are you touching anything or are you not touching anything as requested?
Touching things.
You would make an investigation check.
Yeah. Check it for traps and stuff first. Don't raise no fool. $18.
Okay. So going around the room methodically and carefully, making sure not to set off anything, making sure to notice anything that you might set off. You don't encounter any traps. You do find there is off to one corner of the room, there's kind of an upside down crate. And when you take a peek underneath, you do find a, let's see, you find a metal lockbox.
A metal lockbox?
1 inch of common metal, motherfucker.
Okay. Arno can't help it. Can he check for traps on that and then pick that lock, please?
He absolutely can. Make another investigation check. And then, depending on the results of that, luck check, thieves' tools.
Great. 19 for investigation.
19. That looks like it's just locked.
Okay. And then these tools. That's an unnatural 20. Plus 10. Plus 3.
This is a more difficult lock than the one on the door to get in here, but it is still no match for you. This was a little bit more of a masterful lock. When you open it, you didn't detect this from the outside, but you get the feeling if you had tried to force this open instead of unlocking it with a key or with your skills, you do see a small container that looks like it might have sprayed something at you if you had opened this box another way.
Okay.
But it does. You are not sprayed in the face with poison gas, luckily for you. Let's see. Within the lockbox, let me see if there's a description here. There is a short sword. Compared to the last time you found a fancy short sword in a lockbox hidden away in somebody's room, this one is not like shiny black, fancy drow black steel. This short sword has a little bit of a dull rusty color with veins of red running through the metal. And also, Lucas, you detect the presence of a new magic item that was not there a moment ago.
Lucas just swears under his breath. God damn it.
I knew he was gonna touch that. I specifically asked.
And then right after he swears, he just hears Arna's voice in his head being like, "So I touched, and I found, I think, what we were looking for."
If I glance behind me at the baker again, is he still thoroughly engaged with Ben? Has he noticed anything at, like, the opening of this magic item?
Would you all have come here, do you suppose, like a couple of hours before closing or like shortly before closing?
We made our way basically straight over.
Okay, so yeah,
I like
it's
to think
not,
it's well before closing time, yeah.
Okay, well before closing. So, okay, yeah, you glance back at the baker. Make an insight check, Monsieur Lucas.
4.
4. Okay.
It's not just Thorn.
he's listening to what Senor Gaspacho is saying to him. You can't really tell if he's like, if his attention is rapt or if he's just kind of getting like annoyed or tired or what. He doesn't seem particularly invested, but you can't tell beyond that what might be going through his mind. He's just letting Ben talk. But he has paid you no mind. He doesn't seem alerted that anything is amiss.
Cool. So, Lucas is gonna message Arno back and ask, "What'd you find?"
One thing is a ruidium short sword, which I know was stolen from Oriok. Well, no, I'm like 80% sure. Should I take everything?
We were told to bring back proof. This message goes back to Arno very slowly. But if you take it and he notices, he's gonna hide everything else. It's gonna be all we get.
But there's other stuff in the lockbox, right? Like that's the first thing.
In this lockbox, that is the contents, is the short sword.
Oh, true.
That was apparently the one thing that was special enough to be locked in this box.
True. But if we leave it, he might get rid of the other stuff anyway. Like sell it.
Don't touch it with your bare hands.
Are no messages back about that.
He did not touch it with his bare hands. Thorn and Ix had issues when they touched it. He's not touching it with his bare hands. He was there.
It's gonna have skin cancer later on down the road for sure.
But how are you supposed to find out if you don't fuck around?
Well, see, but I had party members who fucked around, so I found out.
But did they really find out?
Secondhand finding out, you know. Yeah, he would take the short sword. Use one of his scarves to like wrap around it, so he's not actually touching it.
Don't want to be itchy.
No. Can I say before he touches it, he makes sure there's no like pressure plates or anything like that? Like there was already a poison container. He would be extra cautious.
Make another investigation check.
Okay. Indiana Jones.
It's almost like my players are paranoid in this game.
I'd like to think there's reason for that.
Yeah. At least with Arno, I put it in his backstory. No one can complain about me being overly cautious as a player. It was literally his family's job to make traps for shit.
I'm not complaining. I am thoroughly amused by the entire thing.
19.
19, okay. Other than the poison gas that did not go off, there doesn't seem to be any other traps in this lockbox.
Cool. So yeah, he'll take that and then he will lock the box up and put everything exactly back where it was before.
Very good.
So. And then he will just like leave the room unless there's anything else that sticks out to him.
Make a survival check. Put everything back the way that it was.
Okay.
Gotta make you make rolls that you're not like getting +10s in once in a while.
True, but do I get advantage because I'm a spy and I would have trained to know to put shit back where it was?
No.
Dang it. Okay.
That defeats the purpose of me asking for this check.
It is true. Hold on. Survival. 16.
Okay. You feel pretty confident that you put everything back where it was when you came in.
Okay.
And you're not sad to leave this room because it still smells awful.
Yeah.
You could even say it smells awful. Which is another word I don't get to use in a sentence very often. All right. Are you doing anything else back there before slipping out?
Can he just check the piles near the manacles? Is there like dead bodies, or is it just like vegetable refuse?
There aren't dead bodies. You get the feeling bodies have been in here in the past, against their will.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, he's just gonna... leave the room, lock everything behind him, and then message Lucas and just be like, all right, I'm out.
Lucas would message Arno back and just suggest a meeting point somewhere based off of the area that we saw coming in. Wherever that is, it'll be the meeting point. That said, Lucas has his cookies, and Ben is thoroughly gazpaching over there. And Lucas is going to turn to Ix, and he's... Is there windows in this part of the bakery? Like we could see outside, or no?
There are not.
There are no windows in here either, but the door, did we leave it open or did we close it again, guys?
We probably closed it when we came in.
Okay, cool.
Probably.
So he's going to turn back to Ix, and he's going to give her his most charmingest of smiles, and he's going to say, unless there's anything else you'd like before we go, I think we're going to be late for our date.
Oh, is it that time already?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't want to be late. It took you ages to get those reservations.
See?
I had to
Ix
hire
will then
Gazpacho
call
himself.
I know, right? Ix will call over to Ben and she'll go, Gazpacho, it's time to go.
He'll look up. Oh, go ahead. I'll catch up to you. I've got to finish up here. He's going to continue showing how to do the honey flame bread.
Am I just third wheeling on this?
No, you're our escort. Make sure that we're being polite.
Oh, that's even worse.
Mm-hmm. So
He's
time
gonna
to go.
turn and walk out.
You're the chaperone.
That's the word. Thank you.
Okay.
We are going to leave without a fuss. I guess we're leaving Ben there. Sorry, orc dude. Good luck.
Just for fun, Ben, as you're in the bakery and you're looking around for bakery things to use as props as you're explaining how to properly make good pastries, specifically honey and spice based pastries. Make a perception check for me.
$15 is what you get.
Okay. I'm going to pretend you rolled a 16, or that the DC is 15 and not 16. So as you're in there looking around, rummaging through his supplies and whatnot, you do notice off to one side, like propped against the wall, there is a sign, presumably for him to hang on the front door at the end of the day. It just says, "Sorry, we're closed. See you in the morning." But something catches your eye about this sign beyond the words that are written on it. Kind of spotted around the sign, almost looking like accidents, but they're too neat, and to your eye look very deliberate. There's a field of colored dots that almost look like paint splatters. if anyone else in the building were to look at these, they would probably think nothing of it. But you can see a pattern in these colored dots. You are able to, thinking back to your old skills from the streets, you can make out a code in those dots.
Is this in Thieves' Cant?
This is Thieves' Cant, apparently. Identifying this building after dark as a repository of stolen goods.
And you said this sign is just there?
Yeah, it's kind of like it's propped up against the wall until it's needed at the end of the day.
How big is the sign?
It's not like obnoxiously large. It's just like something you would hang on the front door, like maybe a foot wide.
Can I wait until my green friend is distracted and try to swipe the sign?
I mean, it's evidence. It's evidence. I get it. I'm there. It's just like, I don't know how this is gonna work out.
Make a persuasion check to create an opening.
So what Ben's going to do is he's actually going to point to like a specific ingredient or spice, and he's going to say, I need you to get this spice, and he's going to like list some really ridiculous name. What's a good ridiculous spice name that probably wouldn't be on hand? I don't know.
Do you have Parmesan?
Yeah. Parmesan. And he's just going to point to it. And you said do a what check?
Persuasion to create an opening.
Okay. It's as good as anything I've got. So let's try this. It's not the worst. 12.
And then a sleight of hand.
I'm going to be much better at that, probably. Woo! Much better at that.
Okay. Yeah, he looks at you kind of annoyed when you tell him to go grab the Parmesan. But he turns around away from you to grab whatever you were pointing at. And with nary a sound or a whisper of cloth, you are able to swipe this wooden sign.
All right, Ben's then going to make it for the door, and he's going to say, hey, good luck with your bread. I'm sorry it sucks. And he's just going to leave.
I'm sorry it sucks? That's how you're leaving?
That's pretty fair by the end of this. That bread sucked.
Even if it's true, like, damn, dude, salt in a wound.
You didn't taste the bread. It's...
She didn't taste the bread on purpose. She knew this shit was crap.
You don't know what he's done.
Observant. I don't know what he's done. You're right. That's why I didn't eat none of it.
So Ben's like, you're lucky he doesn't claim to cook fish good.
Oh, I'd burn this place down.
When we get outside, Lucas is just gonna nod in the direction of where he told Arno to wait for us. Like towards the others, so like they can see which way.
Makes sense. We just wander on. We just kind of take your lead, I think.
He meanders, but meanders his way over to a meeting point.
Once Arno sees them, he will stop being invisible.
Arno cast message many times.
He would have gone invisible.
He cast many messages, and then he re-invisibled on his way out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does it feel like a good stopping
left,
point?
so that in case there were people outside the door, they wouldn't see him leaving the back entrance.
Valid. Okay. Well, yes, as I think somebody was starting to say, in the interest of wrapping up a little bit early, we will conclude properly the aftermath of this little incursion next time. But after leaving Old Man Krook's bakery
Oh god, I hope I
with-
don't get that monk guy arrested who has all the tattoos.
That guy
Very
doesn't have a
probably-
mustache.
It's important distinction.
Very important.
Hope he has an
Um,
appointment right now for an alibi. That's all I'm saying.
With very probably what you suspect to be a ruidium sword. You make your way out of there feeling like you have done a successful job with this. The next day, you hear news that a bakery in the River District has burned down with the owner inside.
Whoa, hold on. What? We're time skipping this?
He wanted
Just
to give
a-
us a cliffhanger.
Just a preview.
I mean, I
No.
think it makes sense because, like, we're gonna bring the evidence to the Cobalt Soul, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna immediately, like, go to arrest him or intervene in some way. It's kind of out of our hands.
That makes it sound like the Cobalt Soul did this.
No, it's probably
No.
like the Consortium or somebody trying to
Yeah.
destroy the evidence before the Cobalt Soul can make their move.
We only got one weapon, guys.
I don't know if there was anything more.
Lucas did say this would happen. That's all.
Well,
Ix wasn't
d-
privy to
I
that
wasn't-
conversation.
It's true, and to be fair, I felt like Arno would probably have like talked to everybody and been like, okay, well, I didn't want to do anything more by myself in the back room, but like, we can go in there.
Getting out is the best plan.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Arno did make the right choice of grabbing the one item.
No, I
Yeah.
agree. I'm just saying that that was our one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be confused for last week's one shot.
Also, you skipped a boss fight. Hooray.
Oh god, did we really? Shit. Oh god.
Was
Who-
Crook
who
the
do you
boss
think-
fight?
Who do you think burned the bakery down with the owner inside?
Oh.
Who?
I don't know. You don't know.
I know we don't know.
Whoever we would have fought. Because we decided to not go after like hours and then.
Because we went in and bought some baked goods. Good job, everybody.
Let's just say somebody wanted to buy that sword, and it wasn't there when they arrived.
I mean, the bread was almost as hard. So.
Also, Lucas, do you try any of your cookies, or do you offer them to the others?
I didn't detect any magic on them.
They did not appear to be magical.
Want to try a cookie?
It is rock hard,
Great.
including the frosting.
I love it. I'm going to pocket 2 rock hard cookie cement blocks.
I could make throwing stars out of them.
Ix watches Lucas go to take a bite, and when his jaw doesn't sink in, she's just gonna stare at him like, oh my god. And when he tries to double down because he's like, but the frosting, she's gonna continue staring at him like, are you okay? And when he takes it back out and there's not a dent, she's gonna be like, oh god.
Yeah, if he tries hard enough, there might be faint teeth marks in the frosting.
Gross.
It's all good.
Oh no.
We're just gonna
You know what?
enjoy our new weapon of choice.
That place deserves to be burned down. Straight up.
It's true.
And
Oh yeah, Arno would 100% tell them about the like creepy serial killer lair that he was in.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where he was at the sword where he's like, guys,
also,
just because I didn't see bodies doesn't mean that there weren't bodies there at some point. Like, not good. Not
And Ben would
good.
definitely explain the sign to everybody too, even though that's a little bit less impactful than what Ardo found. Like, oh, maybe he was a bad dude and he couldn't cook.
Well, we could still give the wooden sign to the Cobalt Soul. Now that they have that symbol, they might be able to look. I mean, that'll suck for crime in the city, but the Cobalt Soul wants to do some investigating, they have a little way to do it.
I mean, they don't really.
They like
need...
knowledge.
I don't think they would need the sign to be able to read these cans. Surely someone there already knows it.
You'd think, but you know what? No, that's a good point. No. Yeah, I mean, look at Ben.
There's at least one Cobalt Soul monk who speaks these scans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At least.
Well,
also,
we can still bring the sign there and be like, we did not burn the place down. Like, that was not us.
Oh, that's tomorrow. So, yeah.
Yeah. Also, out of character, he was not just a bad baker who wanted to improve to get out of his criminal life. He just didn't care.
Yeah, it was just
That's
different.
worse. That's freaking worse. You guys,
It's
like,
too bad,
dude.
you know. I almost had sympathy for the guy who got burned down in his shop because he just wanted to be a baker, but he got caught up in a life of crime. But now that I know that he's just a dick,
and possibly a serial killer.
Possibly a serial killer.
You know.
Yeah, what the hell? Can you explain the manacles since this place burned down? That's messed up.
I feel like we're gonna find that out as we pursue this
probably.
little plot line.
It's
I mean,
fine.
you don't. I mean, he's a businessman. He buys and sells.
Buys and sells people. Sells parts. Got it.
Ugh.
Gross.
Glad he burned
I want to
down.
revive him to kill him again.
I mean, you have the material component for Revivify. Technically.
Yes, but she doesn't know the spell.
Either way. No,
It's
thank
just,
you.
It's just a little more red than usual.
I'm not going to revive people with ruidium. That's just asking for demons. Absolutely not. Next thing you know, there's going to be a giant freaking hole in the sky, and we're going to have to seal it, and we're going to have to go all across the hinterland. No.
The red moon flares, and red lightning comes down to strike the body to shock it back to life. As their eyes and mouth are emitting just a red glow as they go rise from the ground, T-posing.